We're going to get started in just a minute. If everybody would take your seats, please. I'm going to go ahead and call the Quapaw Nation Business Committee meeting of Saturday, March 16th, 2024 to order. Trenton Stand, would you please lead us in the invocation? Before we go to roll call, can you please confirm that Linda Davis and Joey Gibbs Waters' lines are unmuted? That should be fine, thank you. Secretary Treasurer Valier, will you please take roll call?
Chair Supernaut,
Present.
Secretary Treasurer Valier, present. Lloyd Buffalo,
Present.
Linda Davis, Joey Gibbswater. So everyone knows, Linda Davis and Joey Gibbswater are on their way here. They were out of state on Quapaw Nation business, and they're both in transit. But they're joining us via technology, hopefully the phone or laptop. Larry Mercer has an excused absence. It was a planned absence that was planned and discussed and approved quite some time ago. Not on mute.
So we have them unmuted from our side and they need to unmute from their side?
Hold for a moment and allow them to using an alternative form of electronics to be able to get them. A roll call. Member Davis. Member Gibbswater. Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Sorry about that, folks. Wonderful. Go ahead and declare orders of the day. Secretary Treasurer Valier.
Madam Chair, I declare orders of the day.
Wonderful. We'll go on to the next item on the agenda. Business Committee, are there any corrections to the February 17th meeting minutes? Hearing no objections, we'll go ahead and proceed to the vote. All those in favor of adopting the February 17th meeting minutes as distributed, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The February 17th minutes are adopted as distributed. Let's go on to the approval, disapproval of the directors and subcommittee reports submitted.
I moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of adopting the directors and subcommittee reports submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. The directors and subcommittee reports are approved. We'll go on to the chair's report. So please bear with me. It's pretty lengthy this month. First, I'd like to start by saying the following tribal members passed away since we last met. Include Sierra Lauren Shawnee, Deborah Schumacher, Holly K. Steinbach, Jamie Clenennan McGuire, Ricky McGideon, and Quapaw Nation spouse, Vicky Cusat. We just found out about that earlier this morning. Please lift these Quapaw families in your prayers and let us join in a moment of silence. Gunagay. Let's go on to a couple of announcements. The grounds subcommittee, they selected their officers. That is great news. Their chairman is Chayton Ellick, and their secretary is Julia Peebushy. The Economic Development Subcommittee has also selected their new officers. The chairman is Dr. Mindy Davis, and the secretary is Austin Headley. So thank you to all of them for stepping forward to play these important roles. We're going to get an update on the Elder Resident Subcommittee later in the agenda, so I'll hold off on that. We're also going to get an update on the letter received by many tribal members that reside here in Quapaw regarding the Quapaw City Volunteer Fire Department. Again, that update will be later in the agenda. Regarding flags for veterans, Quapaw Nation Marshal and veteran Blaze Fagan and a group of veterans would like to place flags not only in the tribal cemeteries, but family cemeteries as well. So if you have a family cemetery you would like to have flags placed on veteran graves, please contact Brent Devine at brent.devine@quapawnation.com with the veteran names and location of the family cemetery. Brent will get that information to Blaze. Regarding the Good Eagle and Bear Settlement analysis, Hobbs Strauss and RSM have finalized their work and provided their final report. Hobbs Strauss and RSM, just as a reminder, they were engaged by the Quapaw Nation back in September of 2023. Their initial project goals were to review documents from the Bear v. U.S. case for information related to the distribution of settlement funds. They were also engaged to review and analyze the distribution of the settlement funds from Good Eagle v. U.S. In addition to that, additional questions were posed to them. We also requested that RSM and Hobbs-Strauss research and analyze additional questions regarding the distribution of settlement funds. The documents reviewed included more than 10,000 documents in preparation of the final report. They included the Quapaw analysis, litigation documents for the Quapaw, Good Eagle, and Bear cases, business committee resolutions, correspondence to Quapaw members, and bank statements. First, let's go through a little bit of an overview of all three of those lawsuits. In Good Eagle v. U.S., a total of 784 individual plaintiffs asserted breach of trust claims against the United States that included failure to collect rents, royalties for mineral rights, and to properly manage those assets, failure to protect tribal members' mineral interests, failure to collect rents payments for town lots, mismanagement of agricultural leases and rents, failure to protect natural resources, and failure to protect the environment, failure to protect Quapaw tribal members and otherwise act in their best interests, failure to adequately manage individual Indian monies, IIM accounts, and just compensation for property taken. Following the United States 2012 motion to dismiss, 5 claims remained of all those that I just stated. The ones that remained include failure to collect rents, royalties from mineral rights and to properly manage those assets, failure to protect tribal members' mineral interests, failure to collect rents payments for town lots, mismanagement of agricultural leases and rents, and failure to adequately manage IIM accounts. In the Quapaw versus U.S. case, following the assertion of claims by members, the Quapaw Nation, at the time the Quapaw tribe, asserted the following claims: mismanagement of tribal trust accounts, failure to collect or deposit payments for tribal lands relating to both the Catholic 40 and the Quapaw Industrial Park, and failure to properly manage natural resources, tribal land, resulting in lost income. Following the United States 2012 motion to dismiss, the following claims remained: mismanagement of tribal trust assets, failure to collect or deposit payments for tribal lands relating only to the Quapaw Industrial Park. The nation's claims related to the Catholic 40 were dismissed. Last lawsuit summary in Bear v. U.S. On December the 19th, 2012, the U.S. House of Representatives referred H.R. 5862, a bill relating to members of the Quapaw tribe of Oklahoma, O-gah-pah, to the U.S. Court of Federal Claims. The resolution instructed the court to report back to the House regarding findings of fact and conclusions of law that are sufficient to inform the Congress of the nature, extent, and character of the Indian trust-related claims of the Quapaw tribe of Oklahoma and its tribal members for compensation as legal or equitable claims against the U.S., other than the legal claims that are pending in the Court of Federal Claims on the date of enactment of that resolution, and the amount, if any, legally or equitably due from the United States to the claimants. Claimants consisting both of individuals and the Quapaw Nation filed their complaint in Bear v. U.S., asserting the following claims: breach of trust regarding mining lands, failure to properly lease and manage chat, breach of trust regarding agricultural lands and town lots, breach of trust regarding easements and rights-of-way, failure to pay amounts due from judgment against the government, breach of trust including polluting soil and water, rendering them unsuitable for agricultural use, fishing, and hunting, and failure to make treaty payment of $1,000 per year. So that's kind of the summary of those 3 lawsuits, and then now we're going to get into some of the key questions. How does Good Eagle set a precedent for Bear? How are the cases similar and different? No precedent for Bear was set by Good Eagle. Generally, RSM and Hobbs-Strauss do not believe Good Eagle sets any overarching precedent for Bear. The claims asserted in Bear are primarily equitable claims that were brought as the result of the dismissal of those claims in Good Eagle and Quapaw tribe suits. Additionally, as Good Eagle and Bear were settled prior to trial, they believe there is no legal precedent set from Good Eagle that would affect Bear. Just a little bit of a summary. I know I get a little confused sometimes in terms of legal versus equitable claims, so I'm just going to give a summary. Generally, legal and equitable claims are legally distinct in congressional reference cases. A legal claim is a demand based upon a substantive right, the invasion of which is readdressable by law. Equitable claims are an injury caused by the government for which there is no enforceable legal remedy, due, for example, to sovereign immunity bar or running of the statute of limitations. Claims brought in Good Eagle and Quapaw that were dismissed were subsequently asserted in Bear as equitable claims. For example, claims related to the Catholic 40 and Quapaw suit were dismissed due to a running of the statute of limitations. A claim regarding the Catholic 40 was brought in Bear and was treated as an equitable claim. So what claims of the nation and allottees have been satisfied today from the 82,965,000? The 82,965,000 represents the total amount received by groups 1 and 2 for the Good Eagle and Quapaw tribe settlements. Now, just a little bit of a description about what Group 1 is. Group 1 received a settlement in the amount of $59 million for both Good Eagle and Quapaw tribe case settlements, with no distinction between how much was for either case. Those monies were deposited by the U.S. into an escrow account held by the Quapaw Nation. $19 million was distributed to 574 individuals as Good Eagle Distribution 1. So that's Distribution 1 was in the amount of $19 million. Then $18.5 million was distributed to 132 individuals as Good Eagle Distribution 2. What that means is $21.5 million remaining funds after Good Eagle Distribution 1 and 2. RSM and Hobbs-Strauss reconciled the balance in the savings account on November the 1st, 2022, after accounting for interest income, dividend income, and agent fees. So those monies remain. Group 2 received a settlement in the amount of $23,965,000. The settlement was for only Good Eagle, as no members of Group 2 were party to the Quapaw tribe. Those funds were deposited by the U.S. into a bank account for the members of Group 2. They obtained no records to demonstrate how Group 2 distributed those settlement funds. Neither the nation nor Group 1 was involved in Group 2's internal settlement allocation or ultimate distribution. Regarding the distribution analysis, there were 209 members received a payment through Distribution 1 totaling $6.2 million more than what the allocation methodology calculated. 101 members received a payment within $50 of the amount calculated after an adjustment, which was $6.1 million less than what the allocation methodology originally calculated. 45 members received $12.3 million less than what the allocation methodology originally calculated and less than what was calculated after applying an adjustment. 221 individuals who were not entitled to receive distributions received a total of $3,381,203. So what is the veracity of the underlying Good Eagle methodology? In your opinion, this question was posed to RSM Hobbs-Strauss. In your opinion, are there any legal commitments the nation must follow with the remaining settlement funds? For Good Eagle Distribution 1, RSM was unable to confirm the individual plaintiff's calculations due to a lack of plaintiff-specific detail. For Good Eagle Distribution 2, the calculations and supporting documents for the percentage of the claims listed in Good Eagle Distribution 2, there was an exhibit associated with that. Those calculations were not provided. Thus, RSM was unable to confirm the individual plaintiff's claims percentage. No documents or agreements they reviewed indicated that the nation must use the remaining funds in any specific way. That concludes today's summary. So where do we go from here? The final report, the PowerPoint, will be posted on the tribal website that contains many of the facts that I stated or summarized as well as additional details. That'll be posted on the tribal website by the end of next week. Listening sessions for the remaining Good Eagle funds will be conducted for Group 1 Quapaw claimants. Group 1 claimants are comprised of the vast majority of the claimants who were party to the lawsuit. Those dates will be scheduled and communicated at the end of next week. If Group 1 claimant tribal members wish to have closed session for confidentiality purposes, please contact brent.devine@quapawnation.com. These listening sessions are your opportunity to both understand the analysis and communicate your unique concerns, questions, and recommendations to the business committee. The key questions we wish to hear your views include: should the remaining funds be distributed? Should the remaining funds be distributed to the Group 1 claimants or utilized to fund tribal member services, or perhaps the beginning of a permanent investment fund? Should the total amount distributed include or exclude the legal fees that all tribal members funded? Remember, that was, you may not remember, but it's $11.5 million. Then last question, on what basis should the funds be distributed? This is where we need to discuss material differences in allocation between siblings, cousins, etc., in both Good Eagle Distribution 1 and 2. What might you recommend in doing the best we can to remedy that situation? Listen, we know we might not ever be able to make it right for everyone, but this business committee does want your input so we can come to the best recommendation and approach possible. Listening sessions will be made available via Zoom and will not be recorded or posted on social media or YouTube. Again, these listening sessions will be made available via Zoom, and they are for Group 1 Quapaw claimants only. Additional details on BEAR that have not been authorized, remember, BEAR has not been authorized or appropriated yet from U.S. Congress, will be provided in the coming months as additional progress happens. So that concludes the recap of the RSM and Hobbs-Strauss analysis. Remember, the final report will be made available by the end of next week, and we'll have those listening sessions scheduled as well. And if you do desire a closed session, please contact Brent, and we will accommodate that. Next topic is the business committee attended the following events this last month: Congressman Josh Burkeen's town hall in Miami, 2 really productive working sessions with the Constitution Committee, the annual Downstream Development Authority meeting, supervisory training. Well, some of us were better at getting trained than others. Saracen plaque blessing at St. Joseph Cemetery, and the Saracen Event Center steel topping off in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, the Sovereignty Symposium planning session, and Secretary Treasurer and I also visited Pivot OK in Oklahoma City earlier this week. Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you like to summarize the highlights of that trip, please?
Thank you, Chair Supernal. As Chair Supernal said, her and I visited the Pivot facility in Oklahoma City. And just to give you guys a little bit of a reason why we wanted to visit that is the business committee recognizes that there's an unmet need in our community for transitional programs that will assist the needs of individuals who need a little extra help with bringing themselves out of desperate or difficult situations to get back on their feet and help to bring them up to become self-sufficient. The question has been, how do we do that? What kind of a program what would the program look like? We were made aware of the Pivot program in Oklahoma City for at-risk youth ages 12 to 24. On the trip to Oklahoma City this week, we decided to take some time and visit the Pivot facility. I have to say, we were thoroughly impressed. What we learned: Pivot provides hope. H-O-P-E, hope. housing and basic needs, overall health, physical, mental, and emotional, prevention and intervention, education and employment. This integrative program gave us some insight on how to develop a program for people that need life transition assistance. The integrated program provides a safe program for someone to work on improving their situation and gain life skills needed to have successful futures. We can't just provide basic needs for a person and expect that they will be available to move forward in their life on their own. That's one of the things that Pivot showed us, is all of those things that are gaps that they help to fill so that they can help those kids, the youth, get the assistance that they needed, whether it's physical, it's counseling, it's mental, it's life skill training, it's education, it's employment, whatever it is that they needed to be able to transition them into being viable members of their community. Some people, this may be a need of assistance transitioning from an addiction program out of prison or something that's a very desperate situation to developing a self-sufficient life. For others, this kind of a program may just be that they need help going from being homeless to moving into that self-sufficient life. We recognize that our communities lack these kinds of programs. And that there's a great need for helping people to become self-sufficient, productive members of their community. Our hope is that as a Native nation and a community that cares for each other can develop a transitional program to not only help our tribal members in need, but potentially others in the community who need a little bit of assistance and may need some time to be able to heal and become self-sufficient. And also not just being self-sufficient, but to be able to thrive in whatever endeavor they choose. We tell you this to let you all know that we do recognize this is an unmet need in our community. We are looking at what possibly can be done to fulfill that unmet need. At this time, we don't have a plan to create this type of transitional program, but this is just a first step at finding out if it is a viable and it's a program that we can possibly provide to our tribal members in need. And again,
Thank you, Secretary Treasurer. It was a great summary, and it was a very inspirational trip about what could be and what we could do here at home. We continue to attend Northeastern Tribal Health System, Claremore Indian Hospital, and Intertribal Council board meetings to represent the Quapaw Nation, its citizens, and the nation's interests. We had an incredibly successful event this month. The Easter egg hunt on March the 9th was a great success. Thank you to the Child Care Development Fund team for the bouncy houses and train before the hunt, Quapaw Facilities Authority for all the preparation and takedown work, and the events committee for the hunt itself, lunch, and a lot of fun. Holding the events at the Title VI Lawn and Pavilion seemed to work out really well. It was a beautiful, sunny, but a very windy day. So it's been a couple months since we've done an update on the casino financials, so I'm just going to briefly go through that. Regarding Quapaw Casino, for the month ending January the 31st, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization totaled $304,000 with a margin of 16.8%. This result missed our budgeted expectation by $83,000, but it does represent an increase of $79,000 from January of last year. Year-to-date EBITDA is $1.6 million, while the budget for year-to-date is $1.5, which is a result of 105.7% of the budget. So that's a good result. Going on to downstream casino and resort, we'll just do the highlights for both January's as well as February. We just got the February financials yesterday evening. For the month ending January 31st, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization totaled $5.8 million with a margin of 39.3%. January's result missed the budget expectations by $1.8 million. and were 1.7 million less than January of last year. January was really a hard month for the resort due to coming off a record-breaking December, which is good, and 16 negative weather-related days for the month. The weather that's snowy or below freezing temperatures has a direct impact on revenue. January finished the month strong, but could make up the deficit, from the first 3 weeks of the month. For the month ending February 29th, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization totaled $8 million with a margin of 45.9%. February's result missed budgeted expectations by $0.3 million and were $0.6 million less than February of last year. Year-to-date, EBITDA for 2024 is $38.2 million, which is 95% of budget. Going on to Saracen, we have both the January as well as the February results. And here's some of the very similar themes. Performance against prior year remains strong, although January earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization fell short of prior year by $814,000. Fiscal year-to-date EBITDA is up $1.6 million, or 7.4%, when compared to the same 4-month period for the prior year. Extended bad weather experienced in January, including below freezing temperatures and ice storms, negatively impacted EBITDA for the month. I'm going to go on to February. The gaming volumes in February were a mixed bag compared to budget as well as prior year. Slots continue to outpace prior year performance, with volumes up 4.7% and revenues up 1%. Table game volume continues to reflect a softening, finishing 6.6% below prior year with solid hold percentage. February's results reflected that volatility, and the sportsbook handle in February experienced a 138% increase in volumes compared to February last year, but still fell below budget due to a low hold percentage. That concludes the chair's report. Renegade. Let's go on to the subcommittee reports. Could we get a microphone to Grace for the elders subcommittee?
Hooray. The elders did meet on March the 7th, and the report made at that time was the March 11th Senior Day at the state capitol. We were invited to go, and we had 2 people interested, but unfortunately neither one of them could go. So we didn't have anybody at the Senior Day, but that's our report there. We are looking towards a mounds trip in the fall, probably October. If there was an interest from our elders about wanting to go on a trip to visit the Quapaw Mounds, and so we're looking towards that. John Rogers came to visit with us because they're scheduling interviews with elders, with all of our Quapaw people, but particularly he wanted our elders to know about it. So they're getting a schedule together on that. Billy Bertram had sent us an email about names for the new construction. And so she will be back at our April meeting. And at our meeting as well with the elders, we have chosen a name for ourselves. We are the O-gah-pah Wisdom Keepers. Renegade.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much. Is that O-gah-pah Wisdom Keepers? Thank you so much, Grace. Let's go on to the Culture Committee. Barbara, would you like to give an update? So 25th. Got it. Thank you, Barbara. Let's go on to the election committee. Frank?
Give me a chance to stretch my legs. Okay, everything's on schedule for the April 20th election for the new vice chair. We will have 3 of the candidates speaking later on. And I will tell everybody we do have the absentee ballot packets available. All you have to do is request them. You can either pick them up at the office or they will be mailed to you. Only thing about them is if you decide you want to vote in person, you have to return that whole packet. And later on this week, everything going to schedule, we'll be sending out our second mail out announcing the vacancy and the election. It will be April the 20th right here in this building. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Next, Constitution Committee. Roman?
Good morning. Constitution, just want to make a quick announcement so that everybody could hear it. Also, on April 6th and 7th, there will be a constitutional seminar that's being facilitated by Native Nation Institute from the University of Arizona. At the seminar, we would like to have as many people as possible. There are going to be topics discussed that directly address our future. Okay, and what I'm talking about is when we think about our dynamic with the general counsel and the business committee, what that relationship looks like, how we want that to work in the future going forward, how it is today. We want the Constitution Committee has identified a number of issues with that relationship, and we need additional input. So we would love to have as many people there as possible, especially want to extend an invite to the business committee, all subcommittees, please come. Directors, please come. Tribal employees, this affects all of us, what we're getting into. So I just want to put that out there. There's information posted on the on social media, as well as I believe it's on the website. I'll have to double check. If it's not, I'll make sure that I'm getting a head shake. It is on the website. There's a couple of potential agendas on the back table back there. If you have access to a digital copy, please do not take a hard copy. Those are for people who need the hard copy access. Last month we had Chairwoman Supernaut mentioned 2 work sessions between the Constitution Committee and the Business Committee, and those were, in our opinion, highly productive. It identified a lot of behind the scenes issues with how we operate as a government, how we operate as a committee, how we operate as an Indian council, a tribe, and it presented a lot of issues that need or questions that need answers. So that happened. Hopefully we could have a couple more of those dialogues in the future. We want to let the dust settle for now, and so we could collect all of that information and data that we have. Just want to remind the business committee, if you haven't completed the survey, please do it. We are relying on that type of feedback also. Other than that, that's all we have. Just once again, April 6th and 7th, it's going to be in here from 8 to 5. Breakfast and lunch will be provided, so at least come eat with us. Any questions? In this room.
Thank you, Roman. Are there any other subcommittees that would like to provide an update? Great. We're going to get one from Economic Development.
Good morning. I'm really liking this warm weather. However, it has kicked my allergies in gear and I've got a little laryngitis. So I hope my voice holds today. But we just had our first meeting with our new members that we got, which was Billy Shapp and Austin, and finished electing the officers. We did have a meeting with Sitton Properties. They were interested in the coffee deal, and we're in some discussions with them. Billy Shapp had brought up some questions and some concerns. So we've asked for a meeting with the BC to discuss those, and I'm waiting on trying to get that coordinated. And of course, Mr. Cusat, his wife had been very ill and just recently passed, so need to give him some time to get through that. But we have also asked for a list of locations and properties that are available that we might look into utilizing and doing some businesses with, and we're still waiting on getting that back. So I think that's about where we're at now.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any other subcommittees? Can we get a microphone because folks can't? Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
A quick update on the Ethics Committee. We're trying to get it all finalized to be able to submit to the BC within May. And I think we've got a meeting Monday night.
That is wonderful. Good. I know that's been a huge effort. Sure do appreciate it. Any other subcommittees? Let's go on to the next item on the agenda. We're down to item number 9, an update from Cuggy Supernaw on the Downstream Development Authority / Quapaw Casino Authority. Cuggy?
I knew this board is brand new, so we're taking a lot of time to review and try to find opportunities in different departments, reduce expenses and increase income. Bring in, take a new point of view in some cases. For instance, we have this shoe store, a big investment for the Quapaw people, but guess no one ever thought about it. But highway goes by, there's 22,000 a day traffic count. We don't even have a sign telling people there's a convenience store there. So they are going to put one in down by Miami. And if it increases the traffic to the shoe store, we may put more. Things like that seem simple, but just looking at it from a different point of view. The committee right now is focusing on at least 3 construction projects that have been proposed like 2 or 3 years ago. Nothing's happened yet, but we're taking the time to tap into experts in the construction field, and we're trying to approach each project in the most professional sequence of events from design to build, so that there's no overlapping or to go back and redo something. And so we may take a few weeks before we even start seriously considering a project like we're going to expand Red Oak Steakhouse. And there's buffet and a remodel of the hotel. So that's what we're doing right now. Just an overview. Yeah, that'll be next now. No, that may be the third.
Cuggy, is there a meeting this afternoon, a DDA meeting?
Yes, we're having a 1:30. On the hotel, I asked for a tour of the hotel, and I said, I want to see the worst. And the worst rooms didn't look like it was. And you can multiply that by, I guess, 222 rooms, you're looking at millions. A lot of that, I think they're going to have to maybe salvage. I don't know. We haven't got.
Huggy, thank you so much. Sure do appreciate it. So that's 1:30 this afternoon up at Downstream for the DDA QCA meeting. So let's go on to the next item on the agenda, and that's the executive director's report. So similar to what we did last month, and I think it went pretty well, all of the executive director reports have been posted on the tribal website. And what we've started doing is those are posted Wednesday before the business committee meetings, same time as the agenda is. So we're going to go through the executive director reports, but I would ask each of you to focus on highlights that you might need to bring forward or want to bring forward, or any new items that have occurred that you want to bring out into the open since the report was done. So the first up is Eric Boone, Chief Financial Officer. Eric, thank you. Sure do appreciate that. Trenton Stand, Executive Director, Resource Management. Please come to the microphone.
The registration for the food distribution closed yesterday, and we have 826 head of households that have.
Now, how does that compare to the prior distribution?
So originally, the first one we had, I think 340, something like that. The second one we hit, I think we ended up being of pickups just shy of 700, and now we're at 826. So that'll be roughly just over 16,000 pounds of meat going out to people. That's all I have to add.
Thank you, Trenton. We're going to go on to next is James Dawson, Executive Director, Quapaw Facilities Authority.
I just have one thing to add, Madam Chair. I recently sent out a questionnaire to the elders that live in elder housing, requesting that basically I'm trying to start an elder resident committee, those people that live on the ground. Just to give them a voice and to have a sounding board to be able to be maybe a liaison between the BC and housing and myself. Roles and responsibilities have not been determined yet. I just wanted to get an idea of who might be willing to serve on that committee, and do not have all responses back yet. So, but what I'm looking for is about a 5-person committee just to serve in a role for elders and their elder housing community.
Great. Is there a deadline that has been communicated or decided in terms of those who might be interested in serving in that capacity?
No, there wasn't a deadline placed on it, but I am trying to move forward. Like I said, we haven't determined any roles or responsibilities, but just an interest in to make a determination if this is going to be feasible or not.
Thank you. Who better to have a point of view than those who actually reside there?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Next up, Steve Stand, Executive Director, Tribal Member Services.
Yes, I want to address the utility payment under the Services Department. As we transition to One Tribe, the new software that social services will be using moving forward and closing out 2023, we recognize significant challenges in the application process. during this transition. I and the entire social services department want to sincerely apologize for the many inconveniences this has caused. We have changed how specific job duties are being performed due to the issues that arose during this new software transition. To address these issues, these adjustments are aimed at enhancing efficiency and expediting application process. Social Services Department should be entirely caught up next week with all the backlog of outstanding applications. And they've already got the first step in the process caught up on the applications and has pledged any that should be, nearing a shut off due to the time it's taken longer during this transition. I and the entire Social Services Department want to thank you for your patience, because I know this has been a difficult time and understanding during this transition. If you do have any issues, please don't hesitate to call the office or email social.services@quapawnation.com or tribal.services@quapawnation.com. I know some have been emailing like Rachel and Patty directly, but please send all bills and applications to social.services.com moving forward. Because, yeah. Normally don't, but during this transition, when it's our fault due to what we've been going through and transitioning to the new software, and close it out, we will make it right if it's our fault.
And Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, the summary of what you just stated, the
Mhm.
contact information and the circumstances, that's all out on the tribal website, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, it is.
saw it. That information is readily available.
Yeah. Right, and actually transitioning from and closing out like we used to always have to do, which kind of shut down, like 10 or 14 days. We're thinking the new software should go smoother stuff during this process. We've been working with Mikkel and IT. Has been great help, and we've been working through it together. Yeah, because if it's our fault, we're going to make it right. Yes, and there was part of the email process that we just now realized last week. So once we got that fixed with IT's help and taking care of that, things have been really, we've actually got twice as efficient and processing twice as many applications in one day just by making some changes and fixing the inbox email. Yes, if he wants to email. Coming. Yeah, have him email social.services@quapawnation.com, because we're also getting an intern on to help us determine, job load and everything. So that's going to be starting, but we also have someone that's going through that box and checking every day to make sure there's not any that's close to being shut off, or if he sends an email to that saying that he is, we'll address that.
Steve, can you repeat that email address, please, so that everybody gets it?
Social.services@quapawnation.com. Well, they just need statements for each bills. So if
Okay.
he's got both bills,
Okay.
he'll just need to submit both of those, and then they'll be paid. Then they have a credit. Is what, well, if, you're saying if someone pays personally and then we turn around and pay the same bill? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, then it'll show a credit.
Steve, thank you. Sure
You're
do
welcome.
appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome.
Charles Addington, Executive Director, Department of Public Safety.
Well, good morning. I just got a couple of things just to update on. I know we got a lot of questions. The city of Quapaw, the volunteer fire department, put out their annual subscription member fees. It come on a paper, and I think they stuck it in a lot of people's mailboxes, and I think there was some confusion whether that's associated with the Quapaw Nation Fire and EMS Department and what those dues are for. So I just wanted to make sure everybody kind of understands that it's not any dues going to the Quapaw Nation Fire EMS. It's actually for the city volunteer fire department. They put it out every year, and most residents that's in their fire district either pays subscription dues, membership dues, or they don't. It's completely up to the tribal members whether you do, but you guys, the tribal members, are covered by the Quapaw Nation Fire and EMS at no charge. So it's not something that's required for tribal members to pay that fee. But it does help the volunteer fire department because that's one of the ways that they have to have income to actually operate their fire department. But I just wanted to make sure everybody understands it. If you don't pay the fees, it doesn't have anything to do with services that you're going to be receiving. You'll still get fire services. If you get a bill for something from the volunteer fire department, let us know if you're a tribal member so we can make sure we look at the run reports and things like that and make sure that fees are not being assessed to tribal members on the reservation, because prior to the Lawhorn decision, the fire district was different because the volunteer fire department had a certain fire district which encompassed a lot of the area up in this around Quapaw. And since the Lawhorn decision and the reaffirmation of the reservation boundaries, then Quapaw Nation Fire Department is the primary responder for the tribal areas on the reservation. So if you got any questions about that, give me a call or give Sammy Freeman a call at the fire department. But like I say, this is completely voluntary. If you want to donate to the city fire department, that's perfectly fine. But if you don't pay the membership fees, that you will be getting services at no charge from the Quapaw Nation Fire and EMS Department. And the second thing is the tribal health fair. We just put that out yesterday, so it's going to be on July 2nd. Since the powwow is actually going to start on the 4th and go through the weekend, they moved it to right before the powwow, so we've got more people here that can receive the services. It'll be on July 2nd. From 8 to 10 will be the elders 55 and over, and then from 10 to 12 will be for everyone, and it'll be at the Quapaw Nation Fitness Center. So.
And the air conditioning will be operating properly this year. Got a little warm.
Correct. Yes. We haven't lost a lot. We did lose a few, and some of that is because of folks going to different departments where they pay more and they have a retirement system in place. So we did lose a few for that. But we do have a new fire chief. Sammy Freeman has been the fire chief for about the last two months, I think, a little over. We actually have a whole new, the deputy chiefs are new as well. So they're all, everybody that's in leadership positions at the fire department right now are internally from the fire department and have years and years of experience. So they do have new leadership there. Yeah, just let them know you're a tribal member. They know that the fee's waived for that, but sometimes we have a billing company that does the billing. So sometimes if something might slip through, but if you'll just let them know you're a tribal member, most of the time they know it's already in your records, and then they'll look at it and then they'll waive that fee for the tribal members. We've got you a lot of extra patrol over there. They're actually sitting in there doing their reports as well. All right.
Charles, did you have another question for Charles?
Yes, ma'am. So we're actually working with the company so the numbers that they used to do the initial calculations were not the same numbers after the Lawhorn decision, after we started increasing employees. So we're working with them right now to get new numbers. And that is I've met with the BC and everybody's supportive. We're trying to get something moving on that right now. I've met with the company, talked to them. They're rerunning the numbers to see what the cost would be. So we can try to put something like that in place, because it is a retention and recruitment incentive. Right. Right. Yeah, and some of them, are leaving because of pay too. We did increase the pay because we were the lowest paid of a full-time fire department in this area. So we just haven't kept up with the times. And of course, that increase makes the budget go up and up and up. But in order to get the best, you have to increase those numbers. And the BC did do that. So we are now in a really good position where we're able to retain people because of the pay, because they're leaving and going to Pea Ridge over in Arkansas. They're starting fire departments everywhere over there, and they're paying way more than what we're paying, and they're giving big bonuses for them to come over. So it's everybody's looking for the same bodies, and it's the same thing with law enforcement. Your paramedics, your EMTs. I mean, it's kind of across the board. Everybody's pulling the same people, trying to pay them more money to get them to go somewhere. Yeah, we're competitive now because we did go to the general pay scale. The BC did approve that, so we did get that already implemented. So that's caused folks that were going to leave not to leave now. So we did have several more that was talking about leaving because of the pay, but now they're staying because we've got it where it needs to be. But if anybody's got any questions, holler at me. I'll be back in the back here.
Charles, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Executive Director Everett Bandy, Culture and Events.
Good morning. Good morning. Our report was posted to the website, and we have nothing additional to provide for the departments in our division. Thank you.
Thank you, Everett. We're going to take a 15-minute recess. So we will be back at 10:20. Okay, it's 10:20. We're going to get started again. Please take your seats. We're going to change up the agenda just a little bit to give our traveling BC members a little bit more time to get here before voting begins. So we're going to move the candidate forum up to the current time. Okay, so we're going to go to item number 14 on the agenda, the candidate forum. We have 3 vice chair candidates. Each will have 5 minutes to speak. The first is Michelle Newton. Michelle?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is kind of an awkward position here. Talk to all the above here.
If everybody in the background would please. Yeah, what she said.
Hello, good morning. As many of you know, my name is Michelle Newton. I am a descendant of the Buffalo Clan, and I consider it a great blessing to be a member of the Quapaw Nation. After much prayer and encouragement from my family and fellow members, I have decided to run for this position. I would be greatly honored if given the opportunity to participate and continue in all the positive work currently going on in our nation. We are very blessed as people to have the opportunity to define our nation future. We will thrive and continue to grow for many, many generations to come. Currently, there are several great programs in place that are very impactful. I would like to see these programs be connected and expanded to further grow our nation and better serve our people. For one example is to create a full circle healing program for our Quapaw families, which I was very thrilled to hear about the Pivot program. It just kind of fits right in. And I had no idea that you two attended, and I was thrilled. And so I feel like our nation's leaders are on the right path, and I'm thrilled for that. We can use internal and external resources to build a program offering every level needed to assist those who are struggling with mental health and addictions. Our nation needs to look at rehabs, affordable housing, making jobs more accessible to those with records, specialized counseling, sober living, and expanded child care services, just to name a few. I think we can all agree that there's a need, and we have the capability to help our tribal members in need. To make progress, we have to start somewhere, but I'd love to see our nation lead the way for not only our people, but people of this community. Another idea would be to develop more youth programs for our children, such as mentorship, educating them on our culture, protecting Mother Earth, living off the land, and taking them on field trips to see where our ancestors came from. The more opportunities we can give them, the better off our nation will be for our future. We need to shape and encourage our youth to be the leaders of our nation. It is vital to embrace, serve, honor, practice, and teach our culture for not only this generation, but for the many generations to follow. You can always call me and ask me anything you want. I want to hear from you, whether it is negative or positive, even if it is against me personally. Our people need to be able to call their leaders when they have an idea or concern and be able to ask any question. I will always be honest with you and speak the truth. I live my life so that when I lay my head on my pillow at night, I can sleep well knowing that I worked hard all day, that it was not for my own purpose, but to serve God and others. We are a blessed nation, and we owe it to each other, our ancestors, and our future generations to work together to make our nation strong and prosperous for all O-gah-pah people. Why should you vote for me? I am honest, I am hardworking, I am understanding, I am a peacemaker, and I value both the nation and my integrity. I am a godly woman with a servant's heart. If elected, I know that I am one vote, and I will not overstep my authority on the board. I will always be respectful to our board members and to each of you. I am an advocate for our tribal members. My heart has and will always be for the betterment of our nation and our Quapaw people. I would be honored to serve you once again. Please use your vote, your voice, and vote on April 20th. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Jess McKibben II, Mans. Thank you.
Good morning. I don't know. Was a difficult decision for me because I was briefly on the BC before, and it was during much different times than what we are facing now. Similar, but a lot of differences. Um, I just believe in working hard and being ethical and trying to do what's in your heart, what's best for your people. I believe we should try to work hard better for the betterment of all of our citizens. Um, I believe in language preservation and culture preservation. I believe that should be a top priority for us. We're working on that now, but I believe we can always do more. I believe there's business opportunities out there for Native businesses that we have yet to explore. There's so many opportunities. We can network with the Native Nations Institute, which Roman went out and found those for us. There's reservation economic summits that we should be hopefully attending in the future if we haven't already attended those. There's National Council for American Indian Enterprise Development. There are so many opportunities that businesses want to seek to put on reservations just for the benefit for them, which it could also benefit us. Government contracts. I know Billy and I have discussed this because Billy's new to the enterprise development and he's big on government contracts as well. My brother-in-law, Mike, was really big on trying to seek out government contracts, and I believe there's lots of opportunities for reservation businesses there as well. I just want to do what's best for all the tribal members. Hopefully we can give the future generations better opportunities than what we grew up with. I've been around here basically my whole life, just live a little over a mile away. And some people think you might be on a dead end road, but I just look at that as I was blessed enough to grow up around here and see a lot of things that the ones before us gifted us with. I look at this place, whenever you're kind of feeling down, I just drive down through here and, you know, this place can make you feel better. When you come down through here, you just get in touch with the spirits of the ones who are still here, that's kind of walked on, and this place makes you feel better. So I'll do what I believe in my heart is best for the future of all of our people. Can't make you any promises. Like I said, it's Michelle reiterated, we're just one vote, but we can try to bring new ideas to the table and more opportunities for all of our people. I too was pleased to hear that you guys have attended the Hope pivot to substance abuse is a big issue with our people, not just our people, all of our Native people in this area. And I believe we could set up programs to get these people back to work and keep them on the right path. I mean, as long as they've got some peers who are in the right path too, that don't fall off together, we can keep them on a good path, keep them employed, and hopefully become, you know, the citizens that help move our nation forward. I've been fortunate enough to always have a job at sometimes when these people are coming out of prisons and rehabs and things like that. Jobs are hard to come by for those kind of people. We can get those people employed and give them an opportunity to learn something, learn a trade where they can come in and be productive, you know, taking care of our own. And it just have to be Quapaw people. I think we should take care of all of our Native peoples. Quapaws first, of course, but if we've got some of our relatives or Miamas or Senecas or whoever, we need to take care of them and get them in our program if we can get one going, like a back to work program, something like that. Help them get a leg up, because I thank the Creator that I've never been in that position, but I know from relatives that it's hard to get jobs when you're coming out of prison or you're a felon or coming out of rehab. You know, we can help get these people back on the right track. It's everybody get. And we have these amendments in place. If I'm doing something that's unethical, there's the FOIA request that we can all make, request information on things. That's one of our newer amendments. If I was doing something unethical or doing something that is not honest, write a grievance. I would be happy to assist you in finding that information out because I put all my cards on the table. This is, like I said, if my decisions deemed were unethical, I would be happy to assist you or visit with you, anybody, about why I made the decisions I made.
Mans, 5 minutes, if you could just wrap up,
Okay,
please.
yes, ma'am. I'm done. I didn't come with any
Sorry.
pre-rehearsed thing. I'm just shooting from the hip. So thank you all. I just want to encourage everyone to vote. If you don't vote for me, that's fine. But in our elections, we have traditionally a low turnout. Just get involved and vote. You know, General Council, come to General Council and participate. We got these things ahead of us that Brother Roman was discussing that need addressed. There's lots of issues in General Council and roles and stuff on. Come to that Native Nations Institute. Lots of good.
Thank you, Mans. Melinda Mayfield Davis. That's what it says, so I had to say the full name.
I just like to confuse people so people don't know whether I'm Mindy or Melinda or Mayfield or Davis. I tell them it's a little like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We just don't know which one the nice one is. So, anyway, I am Mindy Mayfield Davis. Most of you just probably know me as Mindy, and that's perfectly fine. First, let me say that I am saddened that we are having another special election. This is a particularly tough one because, like with Mike Shawnee, it is due to the passing of a BC member, Sonny Glass. So I was really very happy here several months ago when we had a full complement of BC members, and it looked great up there. So I'm hoping we can get back to that again and not have these openings for some years now. So for those of you who don't know me, I did grow up pretty much exactly about 6 miles from this exact area. And in school, I participated in the Indian Club, and I took Indian Arts and Crafts in both junior high and high school. I was part of the first tribal youth job training program that the tribe had, and Mr. Ellick was part of that. And I don't know if he remembers me or not, but that was great because I learned a lot with that. The tribe has helped me with scholarships through college and helped me purchase my very first set of surgical instruments, which I still have and actually still use many of them today. So that was a great help in that time because my dad worked construction and we weren't a rich family. So every little bit the tribe helped us was very important. After I got into vet school, I was able to get help through the American Indian Graduate Center, which I think now is Native First, that was out of Albuquerque. And that was a huge blessing. And that was all because of my Quapaw blood that I was able to receive that funding to help with my vet school. We went to the powwow, but we didn't have a camp. I really wish we had because now that I've been around that more, I see the things that we missed out on as kids growing up. But my great-grandma, who was one of the original allottees, never had a camp, so we didn't camp down here. We just came to the powwow and then we went home. Partly, I think, because we lived so close that they thought we didn't need to. So I did graduate from Lima High School and from NEO A&M College. And then I graduated with a bachelor's in animal science and a doctorate in veterinary medicine, both from Oklahoma State University. I worked for several years as a relief veterinarian and working with other veterinarians, so I have a lot of experience dealing with that and getting along with other people because if you know very many veterinarians, very few of them get along. We all have different ideas of how things should be done, and I think that prepared me very well to work with the BC because I'm a firm believer in having different ideas as how we progress and how we grow. If we all thought the same way and we all had the same ideas, we would never progress. And we don't always have to agree. We have to agree to disagree and get along and find that middle ground. And as long as the betterment of the tribe is our goal, we should all be able to do that. So I opened the Animal Care Center in Columbus, Kansas in like 1999 and had that for about 20 years. And then I closed that and went into industry because I had back problems and my daughter had lots of health issues. While working in industry for an animal health company, I traveled and did seminars in Prague, in France, in England, and Slovakia, along with several in the United States. That gave me a view of how some of the other countries are and how they live. I was actually kind of disappointed in France. The part that we were in almost looked like a third world country, which was very shocking to me. but it was great to see how they functioned in those other countries and the way things went. And then I went back, left industry because I got tired of the travel. And currently I work as a relief veterinarian for some, but I also do a lot of surgeries, a lot of spay and castrations for rescue organizations so that I can help decrease the overpopulation of pets and help them find homes. And that's kind of where my heart lies as far as the pets. I feel like I'm doing more for them that way than a lot of other things that I've done in my career. The two most frequent questions I've gotten are, why are you running for BC? And what are your plans for our tribe? The first one's easy. Why I'm running is because I have always been Quapaw. It's always been a part of me, and I've always been very proud of it. I took a lot of teasing, especially in college, because I don't look like the typical Native American. But I was Quapaw. And I was never ashamed of it. I was never a source of, like, felt bad about being Native. It was something that I was always proud of. And I feel like now I'm in a point in my career, in my life, where I have the time and the knowledge that I can be of a benefit to the tribe. And that's why I'm running. The other question is a little tougher, the plans for the tribe. I'm a firm believer that the two most important demographics that we have are our youth and our elders. Our youth are our future, and we need to ensure that they have the experiences and the knowledge and the education they need to prosper and ensure that future. We have some great programs for our youth now that teach them about our history and our culture, but I would also like to see, like I went through, the job training deal, where they can job shadow with some of our tribal locations. Perhaps the cattle company for those that are interested in animals, maybe with Title VI for those that want to learn about cooking, and in administration for those that want to get into leadership. I think that teaches them a lot. I learned so much in college, but I learned a lot more the first couple of years out of vet school with hands-on. Because, you know, it's a proven fact that when you use more of your senses, you retain more of that. In school, we were reading things and we were spitting them back out. When you're out there, you see them, you hear them, you touch them, you know, it's just involves more of your senses, so you retain it better.
Mindy,
I think-
5 minutes if you could just start wrapping up.
So I would like to see maybe our youth work with our elders. They could help, you know, them with housework and gardening, and the elders would help our youth with teaching them about our history and culture. That seems like a win-win. I also would like to look into our businesses to make sure they're profitable and see if we can expand them. Finally, I would like to see the bear settlement come to a closure. I think that is always going to be a source of conflict in our tribe until we settle it. No matter which area you're on, I just think we need to get it settled. I did meet with our initial lobbyist that was on it initially, Mr. Moorhead. I know a lot of them don't like it, you know, conflict because of the connections with our previous leaders. He had a lot of good points. He had some of the knowledge and experience and connections that I think would help. So whether we use him or not, but I think, you know, if we can even get some of his knowledge would help. My concern is a lot of the congressmen that were with us on Bear have been in office a while and may not be there much longer. We can get new congressmen, but it's going to take time to get them on board and get them up to speed. And we're losing tribal members every week, it seems like, that have been waiting for this settlement. Some of them need it for daily needs. Some of them have like a dream purchase or a vacation they want. And I would like to see, it saddens me to lose more tribal members that have been waiting for this. I would like to see it come to an end. Let's get it settled. Let's all move on and let's heal. So in closing, the past decade, the Quapaw people have been through some very dark and trying times. But like our ancestors before us, we are resilient. We are strong. We are O-gah-pah. And together we can do so much more. And whoever you vote for, just vote. We have some good candidates. I like Michelle. I like Mans. Get out and vote. That's what we need, is more participation.
Thank you, Mindy. We're going to move on and cover a couple of phone polls. Linda and Joey may be walking in momentarily. Member Buffalo, would you please take the first phone poll on the Native Nations Institute seminar?
Phone number 22840, All Nation Native Nations Seminar Proposal. This is for a proposed constitutional seminar to be held on March 23rd and 24th. This will be conducted by Native Nations Institute. Reason this is an emergency phone poll is that two key pieces necessary to submit the request to the business committee not received until February 7th, 10 days time delay, and February 8th, 9-day posting deadline. Agreement, University of Arizona must be signed by the Quapaw Nation before the NNI team can proceed because the BC meeting in March would not provide adequate time for us to coordinate with the NNI team. This phone poll was approved 4-2 and certified 2/29/24.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and cover the next phone poll, 26109, Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Grant. So this was put forward by the Grants Department. The poll is to authorize the nation to submit an application to FEMA for the fiscal year 2023 Building Resilient and Communities Grant. It was an emergency because the nation did not receive the approval committing to this until February 20th, and the deadline for submission to FEMA was actually on February the 29th. So we needed to go ahead and pass that. It was voted on, unanimously approved, and it was certified on 2/27/24. Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please take the next phone poll?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Poll number poll number 26111, amending resolution 122123, a fiber optic right-of-way, requested by Trenton Stan. This poll is approving amending resolution 122123-A, authorizing fiber optic right-of-way requests from Northeast Oklahoma Electric Cooperative Incorporated and Oklahoma Cooperative Corporation, and to authorize the execution of the right-of-way on behalf of the Quapaw Nation. This was sent to a poll because it requires urgent assistance, collaboration, and responses that cannot be delayed without significant consequences to the project. This poll was approved with a unanimous vote, certified on February 28th, 2024.
Is there a motion to accept all three phone polls?
So move to accept all three phone polls, Madam Chair.
Second.
Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, let's go on to the vote. All those in favor of adopting all three phone polls, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The phone polls are adopted. Let's go on to new business. Member Buffalo, would you please take 031624-A?
Resolution number 031624-A. Resolution to facilitate proper reporting standards for the Nation Gaming Commission. Now therefore be resolved that the Gaming Commission shall make reports to the Business Committee within 10 business days after the end of each month. Such monthly report shall contain the following information: number and type license issued during the previous month, number and types of all license denied, suspended, during the previous commentary to explain such actions where appropriate. Report any events of noncompliance or violations of the ordinance, mix/ticks, compact, IGRA, and license other than gaming employee license provided. However, such reports shall not include confidential information concerning any pending regulatory or criminal investigation. Report of Gaming Commission expenditures for the prior month. Summary of any Gaming Commission travel and training. Reports relating to customer disputes, complaints, or other issues that affect the integrity of the gaming enterprise. Other information that the Commission deem relevant in order to keep the Business Committee adequately informed on all current gaming regulatory matters. Further resolved that the Quapaw Nation Gaming Commission shall ensure that all monthly reports are presented timely to the Business Committee in order to promote an effective and efficient communication process with the Business Committee. Here I move to adopt.
I second.
Business Committee, is there any discussion on this particular resolution? Hearing no discussion, we'll go on to the vote. All those in favor of adopting 031624-A, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passes. Resolution 031624-A is approved. I'll go ahead and take the next one. This is 031624-B regarding the, hold on. Authorizing, it's basically to amend another resolution and authorizing stipend payments for the subcommittees. Therefore, be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee does hereby authorize the amended resolution and stipend amounts for the subcommittees listed in Exhibit A, and that all previous stipend payments are superseded by this authorization. I move to adopt Resolution 031624-B.
Second.
Business Committee, is there any discussion? One thing I did want to point out on this particular one, we had recently adopted basically an appendix with all the subcommittee stipends. Since that time, we added the grounds subcommittee. They were not included as a part of that. That is the necessity for passing this particular amendment, or at least putting it up for a vote. Any further discussion, BC? All those in favor of adopting Resolution 031624-B, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries and Resolution 031624-B is approved. Secretary Treasurer, would you please take 031624-C?
Resolutions 031624C, a resolution approving the purchase of a multi-purpose, multi-use agricultural trailer. Whereas the Quapaw Cattle Company is in need of a multi-use agricultural trailer for daily operations, the trailer can haul 21 bales compared to the 7 bale capacity of our current trailer. The trailer can also convert into a flatbed equipment hauler, increasing efficiency. The trailer will be paid for using ITBC grant funds, having solicited qualified vendors and performed due diligence in accordance with current policy and ensuring sufficient unencumbered funds exist. And therefore, be it resolved that the attached purchase request for a multi-use agricultural trailer is approved by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee. Madam Chair, I so move to adopt this resolution.
Second. BC, is there any discussion on Resolution 031624-C? Got it. It's the very beginning of the second sentence, correct? Should be the trailer can also convert as opposed to trail.
Yes.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of adopting the updated version of 031624-C, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries. Resolution 031624-C is adopted. Secretary Treasurer, could you also take the next one?
Madam Chair. Resolution 031624D, a resolution approving the purchase and installation of a walk-in cooler. Whereas the Food Sovereignty Program is in need of a walk-in cooler for the new wash and pack house, the cooler will increase the shelf life of the produce, reducing spoilage, and increase the production window for additional processing. Having solicited qualified vendors and performed due diligence in accordance with the current policy and ensuring sufficient unencumbered funds exist, and therefore be it resolved that the attached purchase request for a walk-in cooler is approved by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee. Madam Chair, I so move that we adopt this resolution.
Second.
Business Committee, is there any discussion on 031624-D? All those in favor of adopting Resolution 031624-D, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries. Resolution 031624-D is adopted. Member Buffalo, would you please take the last one, item E, as in Edward?
3160-E. Resolution accepting special appropriated project funds and authorizing execution of the grant agreement from and with the Tribal Buffalo Council, ITBC, for year 2022. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee agrees to accept from the ITBC Herd Development Grant Program, hereby agrees to comply with the Nation Business Committee does hereby authorize the execution of the Intertribal Buffalo Council Herd Development Grant Program and Agreement FY 2022. So moved.
Second.
Business Committee, is there any discussion on 031624-E? Hearing none, we'll go on to the vote. All those in favor of adopting 031624-E, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 031624-E is approved. That completes new business. We'll go on to donations. There are quite a few of them. Member Buffalo, would you please take the first one for the Quapaw High School after prom?
The donation request. Contact person Lacey Richardson, high school. They're requesting a donation of $500 after prom and the schedule for April 13th. Our goal as parents is to provide a safe environment free of alcohol and drugs for our children. We will offer many opportunities for fun with food, interactive games, and prizes. Requesting $500.
Madam Chair, I move to adopt the Quapaw High School after prom donation request in the amount of $500.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the donation in the amount of $500. Is there any questions, any discussion, BC? All those in favor of approving the donation in the amount of $500 to the Quapaw High School after prom, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries. The donation in the amount of $500 is approved for the Quapaw High School after prom. I'll go ahead and take the next one, very similar. This is for the Miami High School. As opposed to a dollar amount, the Miami High School after prom for 2024 is requesting a donation of 75 pounds of hamburger meat to support food for that event. They're hosting the after prom event for Miami High School on Friday, March the 29th at the Civic Center, and they would like us to provide hamburgers for the students throughout the evening. Their volunteers will cook and serve the food. They're just asking that we supply the beef, and they thank us for our consideration. I'd like to make a motion to donate 75 pounds of hamburger meat for the Miami High School after prom.
Second.
Any further discussion? Just so you guys know, we have verified that we do have the 75 pounds of meat available for them. Did you hear that? 434.25. Okay. All those in favor of approving the donation in the amount of 75 pounds of hamburger meat for the Miami High School after prom, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries and the donation is approved. Okay. Moving on. Secretary Treasurer, would you please take the next two? They're very, very similar for the Latimer County livestock sale.
Certainly, Madam Chair. The first donation request is for Max Harkins. He's requesting $500. This is for the Latimer County Junior Livestock Sale, FFA 4-H. The Quapaw Nation will be recognized online in newspaper media and thank you notes from MAC. The reason for this sale is to help promote the ag education and provide funds to purchase and care for their show animals. Madam Chair, I move to donate $500 to Mac Harkins for the FFA 4-H event.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve for the $500 donation. Are there any questions, BC, or any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the $500 donation for Max Harkins, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries and the $500 donation is approved.
Donation request for Nate Harkins for the same thing, Latimer County Junior Livestock Sale. He's also requesting $500 to help with the sale for promoting the agricultural education, provide funds to purchase and care for their show animals. Again, I move to donate $500 to Nate Harkins for his FFA 4-H program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for a $500 donation to Nate Harkins. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the $500 donation, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries and the $500 donation is approved. I'll take the next two. This is the American Legion Auxiliary. They've placed a request, and we'll do them separately for two different tribal member youth. The American Legion Auxiliary directly supports veterans, active military families. Another way they're honored is by demonstrating and passing on respect for our country and our nation's flag. This is done through patriotic youth programs that uphold the ideas of freedom and democracy and encourage good citizenship and patriotism. This tribal member, this one is for Ashley Hartley. This tribal member was one of 8 selected to participate in the Oklahoma Girls State through the University of Central Oklahoma in Edmond. The donation will help with the registration fee and their stay. I'm trying to find the registration amount, which is $305 per student. So they're requesting $500, which would include the $305 registration fee plus some travel costs.
Madam Chair, I move to adopt.
Second.
What amount, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. $500.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the $500 donation to the American Legion Auxiliary for Ashley Hartley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the $500 donation, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries and the $500 donation is approved. The next one, very similar. Again, it's from the American Legion Auxiliary. However, in this particular case, it is for a different tribal member youth, Caitlin Ray. I move to approve the $500 donation for the American Legion Auxiliary for Caitlin Ray.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for a $500 donation. Is there any discussion or question? All those in favor of adopting the $500 donation, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? $500 donation is approved. We're moving on to the next one, the Quapaw Nation Powwow Princess Request. Member Gibbswater, would you please cover that one?
Yeah. Donation request from Michelle Shield on behalf of her daughter, the Quapaw Nation Powwow Princess Elena. The Quapaw Nation Powwow Princess will be traveling to Denver, Colorado to attend and represent the Quapaw Nation at their March 2024 powwow. They are humbly requesting assistance with travel and miscellaneous required expenditures. They have a donation request of $500. I so move to approve their request for $500 to attend the March powwow.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve $500 donation to the Quapaw Nation Powwow Princess. Is there any further discussion or questions? All those in favor of approving the $500 donation, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries and the $500 donation is approved. Member Davis, would you please take the last one, next to last one, Baxter Springs High School after prom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a donation request from Baxter Springs High School After Prom Committee. We received the donation request on 3/13/24, and the amount they are requesting is $500, or any amount would be greatly appreciated. Again, the organization is Baxter Springs After Prom. The BC will be recognized through social media, and the donation will be used for food, drinks, and prizes for the 2024 Baxter Springs High School After Prom Party. Madam Chair, I so move to adopt this donation request in the amount of $500.
We have a motion and a second for a $500 donation for the Baxter Springs High School after prom. Business Committee, are there any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the $500 donation, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries and the $500 donation to Baxter Springs High School after prom is approved. Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please take the last one?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The name of the organization is the American Indian Student Association, and this is at the University of Oklahoma. Contact person is Neo Pearson. They're requesting $3,500 for the Crimson Tier, and the Quapaw Nation would be recognized on the tier board. This request will go to the 110th Annual AISA Powwow on April 20th. Trying to look at their information. Provided the flyer for this powwow on April 20th of 2023. Madam Chair, I move to donate $500 to the University of Oklahoma American Indian Student Association powwow.
We have a motion and a second for a $500 donation to the American Indian Student Association. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the $500 donation, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? $500 donation is approved. That concludes the donations. So hopefully I haven't skipped any of them. We'll now proceed to the open forum. So everybody's aware, the open forum rules do indeed remain in place. In order to speak, an individual must have submitted the form or must pertain to topics on today's agenda. There is a 5-minute time limit, 1 trip to the podium. Please be respectful, and let's start with those who submitted the forms. Barbara Collier.
On today's agenda, you passed a resolution for the Gaming Commission reporting
business committee? Is that included in their ordinance?
It is not. That's why the resolution was passed. There's no reference to specific reporting requirements, timing, things of that, what it's supposed to contain, and that's why the resolution was passed.
I'm here mainly, my reason for the open forum for me was precedence that's been set by the business committee. On November 18th, you reported to me in questioning, when I was questioning dismissal of Elizabeth Homer as the legal counsel for the QNGA, and was told that it was you were paying an attorney with Drummond Woodson, had gaming experience, and that you didn't see fit to feel that it was to pay two different attorneys gaming issues. The QNGA was set up originally to be autonomous. It's to regulate your matter of fact. And so I filed a grievance against the business committee on this issue because there was still maintaining payment of an attorney that was working at Downstream. So what is explained to me, that would be like double dipping. And so you continued to do that by paying an attorney, another attorney, Downstream for gaming experience, along with the Drummond Woodson attorney for gaming. So I met with the grievance committee this morning, and their opinions were given to me, and their feelings towards what I had reported. And I explained to them why I filed the grievance. That is why I did. You need to be more cautious about your reasoning and possibly correct it moving forward, because the information that they gave me shows here that you've hired two other attorneys, Chad Smith and Hobbs Strauss, in addition to Drummond Woodson. Is that correct?
The first attorney you mentioned, if I recall correctly, the date in which that individual was engaged was maybe springtime of 2021. You said that?
Smith.
That's right. And who was the second one? I'm sorry.
Says early 2022.
Oh, 2022.
But the other one's Hobbs Strauss, RSM.
And they were engaged in September of 2023.
And so you're still maintaining them as well as.
Both of those were brought in for highly specialized services, the first of which is for constitutional scholarship in Indian law. The second one group was brought in, Hobbs Strauss RSM, specifically for the Good Eagle, Bear, and Quapaw analysis that we just talked about during the chair's report. Their engagements are limited to those particular areas.
And that being my point. In 2024, 304. It was just dismissed. So that is my point. I think that you need to be very cautious about the reasoning that you use. If the reasoning was because you were paying two attorneys for the same services, gaming, then does Drummond Woodson not have the services that Chad Smith and Hobson Strauss can give you? That's why you hired them. Is that not correct?
They were engaged, Drummond Woodson was engaged as general legal counsel, and that was after Chad Smith was engaged from the Constitution side.
Not getting my point. Does Drummond Woodson not have the legal counsel to give you those services? They can give services.
Got it. We actually, Drummond Woodson was engaged last summer, and that was actually before we brought in Hobbs Strauss, and as well as RSM. And so we actually sat down to figure out, could they potentially cover that? And at that time, the decision was made, no, they didn't really quite have the expertise necessary to perform the exact analysis that we wanted because it was a combination of both legal as well as financial analysis.
Then my second question would be, I was told and asked who wrote the new ordinance, and was given the opinion that the attorney for gaming with, I can't remember that guy, Drummond Woodson, was the one that created that. Is that correct?
It was based on the model ordinance, and then a variety of changes were made by a number of attorneys, including Drummond Woodson. The BC even, had ample opportunity to make edits and changes to it as well.
Well, then, since that time, I've been informed that the attorney that was at Downstream, Lanier, was the one that created it.
It's the model ordinance, and then edits were made by a variety of individuals.
Well, and it's difficult to see that someone in management should create a document that's going to manage. In my point. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Are there other items that pertain to today's agenda folks would like to come forward in open forum? Roman Kahik.
I want to clarify something. Might be a little bit of confusion with the phone poll that was read earlier. It stated the date of March 22nd, 23rd, or 23rd, 24th, which is next weekend. I just want to clarify that the date is still April 6th and 7th, that we had some miscommunications happen and we had to change the date. So April 6th and 7th is still the date that we're going for. And also, if you're bewildered by the confusion that Barbara shared, please come, because this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to nail down all of this stuff of how things operate between us and the business committee. So please come.
Thank you, Roman. Others? Okay, hearing nothing forward, we're going to go ahead and call for the benediction. Member Davis, would you please close us out in prayer?
Madam Chair. Away in Tanto Wakanda, Father God in heaven, as we come to you at this appointed time. Father, we just humbly thank you for the safe travels that you provided for Joey and I. Father God, we thank you for those that are present today, and we thank you for the blessing that you bestow upon each and every one, Father God, and just bless those that were not able to be here with us today for whatever reason. Father, you've heard the names of the members that we have lost and the spouse of a member. Father God, I just ask you to lift them and bring them comfort and strength. Father, our nation has suffered greatly in these past few months. But Father God, I know that you are in control, that you will continue to lead, guide, and direct us. Father God, we just come to you as we close this, and we just thank you again. We lay this prayer down to you, Father, for another to pick up and move forward. Forgive us all for our shortcomings. Lead, guide, and direct us. We give you all the praise and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Chair, I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We stand adjourned at 11:14.